Welcome to ThinkTech on OC16, Hawaii's weekly newscast on things that matter to tech and to Hawaii. I'm Donna Blanchard.
And I'm Sachi Slomoff.
In our show this time, we'll cover the 2015 Unconferenz with a Z gathering, which took place at Iolani's Sullivan Center last week.
Unconferenz is an annual gathering organized by Bytemarks Cafe radio host Burt Lum to discuss the latest developments in tech, to network, be a catalyst for change, create an environment for collaboration, and to start a movement. The Unconferenz took place on Saturday on the third floor of the Sullivan Science Center at the Iolani School. There were about 50 people there, and they were representatives of the thinkers and movers in the tech community in Hawaii. There were 2 breakout sessions involving a number of top-of-mind tech and policy issues, followed by an Ignite speaker session. The discussions were animated and generated some very good ideas. Burt Lum knows how to make people come together and think about tech, and he's really good at organizing unconferences and getting people to collaborate. So we visited the breakout sessions and we talked to people between one session and the other to get a handle on what the discussion was about. It covered a wide range of topics and participants and a wide range of fresh ideas.
We're here at the Unconferenz 2015 here at Iolani School Sullivan Center, talking about issues that matter to us, and it's a grassroots effort. Pretty excited to lead this session. We're going to talk about Reboot the Commute, traffic and innovation, and looking for ways to solve Hawaii's problems.
Great. You got anybody who you think ought to be a representative of the people here?
I think Ryan Cano over there.
What do you expect for this session here?
I expect the developer community to help think up ideas of how to improve transportation in Honolulu with, all our traffic issues that we're suffering right now.
Got any ideas you want to throw on the table?
I do.
How about give us one?
I think we should allow residents to subscribe via text message about incidents in their area, and to be able to use HPD's live feed of all the accidents and notify residents in, let's say, Waipahu, that there is an accident somewhere in between Waipahu and downtown, and etc.
Great idea. So which one do you like, Uber or Lyft?
You're assuming I use either one?
Which one do you like?
Neither, because I'm ignorant on both.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Anybody want to step into that? Uber or Lyft?
Aaron should.
Bike share.
Yeah. We can talk about bike share.
No, we were playing Aaron.
Okay, Uber?
Yes.
Well, I'm with Car2Go, so it's a car. I like all forms. So like as many different options as people have, I'm game for it.
All right, good. Open-minded answer. Yeah.
Well, and we could talk to Ben too with bike share.
Okay, Ben. What do you think?
About Uber versus Lyft, what I will have to say is that the ideal scenario for bike share is that you ride it over to a destination, and if you're ever incapable of driving back, you can take either service and then use the whole ecosystem, except for Car2Go, you need to drive yourself.
Perfect. But I tell you the truth, I prefer a truck. So I can put my bike in the truck.
But then you still have to drive it. You want someone to drive you, Uber or Lyft.
Okay. All right, what do you think of the King Street bike lane? Anybody? Thoughts? Comments on the King Street bike lane?
It's a good start.
You like it? You love it?
It's a good
You love
start.
it? You love it?
Give us a lot more. You don't judge, one system. A lot of people are asking in the newspapers, what do you think of this one bike lane? It's like, great. But if you're asking that question about a car, once you get one road on the entire island, to ask what's the, you want to post-mortem on it, build the thing out, get tons of these things, then ask us what we think, because we need an interconnected thing. I'd love to go to work, but, the King Street, it gets me as far as, a certain distance, then I have to go south on McCully, and I'm going to get killed going that way. So build me a road going down, and I'll take it.
We're ready to go, and I think this session we recruited a lot of talented people, so I think we're going to come up with some good ideas.
I have a project that I have been working on, and it took me a decade to really get everything figured out that I wanted to do, but I implemented it, and now I'm showing Melissa what I consider to be a non-trivial disruptive technology. That is a little website called Plunker. It allows you to rapidly create web pages and deploy web code. So I have created something called a backward chaining asynchronous rules engine, and it allows me to create an expert system quite rapidly.
I changed out my light bulbs. I got energy efficiency products. I upgraded pretty much my house with all the antiquated appliances, and now I bought half the amount of panels as you did, and I have all new appliances.
One of the really nice things about making the house completely off the grid was that it forced me into an exercise that said, okay, you can buy an efficient refrigerator and dedicate 2 panels to it, or you can buy the cheapest refrigerator and have to put in 4 panels, or you could spend 4 times as much, get a super efficient refrigerator, and well, okay, so I'm going to buy the one at Sears and I'm going to buy the extra solar panels, but it was worth it. And having to go through that thought process of trading off, okay, the LED bulbs are $15 a piece. So, all right, if I put all LED bulbs through the house, that's maybe $1,500 in bulbs. That's like, how could you think of that? That was 2 solar panels. Okay, that was really easy. It turned out the math was really obvious, and just the decisions were made for you.
The user is absolutely like the starting point. Now, you can start in design thinking at any point you want. You can start with a solution already in mind, but we would rapidly test that idea with a user group. Because testing is another form of empathy, right? So we just you can start anywhere, but all of a sudden when everyone knows what those steps are, we can always go back, right? And go, okay, or start somewhere. And that's what I mean by the common language. I'm not gonna know engineering speak, and they're not gonna want to spend time learning the business speak, but we can learn this higher language and process so that when we work together, there's some meta process.
There's not just one customer unless we're literally in a consumer business.
Yeah, true.
And so when marketing comes in, they're talking about how do you get the attention of the executive. And when sales comes in, it's how do you get through the buying process of the government. And when engineering comes in, it's how do you survive the product in the harsh environment it's coming from. And you get all that argument at the front of the balance between those things, because you can fail, a good product can fail on any one of those customer levels.
The concern that I see as this fledgling organization, it searches for its footing is innovation for the sake of innovation. And so one of the key things is going back and trying to, that empathy stage, right, which is, what are the problems that are out there, and who's looking for help, and it's tough to go in with a cell or a center or a working group or whatever you want to call it that says, we're from the innovation cell and we're here to help you.
Whenever you create like a strategic, like an innovations group, you're kind of setting them up to fail, because what happens, I think, is you use traditional metrics.
I actually came 2 years ago when I first started with the city, and now that I have a change in position with the Office of Economic Development, I'm back. So I'm looking forward to picking all these really smart people's brains to find out more about what they think is our current state for economic development, and then where do we need to be going. And I think it's really timely that we have Ian talking about design thinking, because that's probably what we'll need to apply.
It's fascinating today to hear all these discussions from different people from around the community coming to talk about so many different topics that relate not only to the tech community but to the state of Hawaii in general. So by the end of our discussions, we're coming away with, well, what's the next step that we need to do to make this happen? So there's one more breakout session, and then at 3:15 is the Ignite sessions, where we've got, I think, 6 speakers getting up and doing 5-minute presentations, but it's boom, boom, boom. It's different than any other kind of presentation. You see, I'll be doing one on 5 types of entrepreneurs.
I'm with Hurl over in Waimanalo. We do deep diving research, and I'm going to be talking about the real prospect of losing Hawaii's only deep diving asset.
Which is
the Hawaii Undersea Research Lab with 2 deep diving submersibles and a deep diving robot.
For somebody who's getting to be my age, it's really great to see young people sometimes tackling problems that I've already failed at, half a dozen times. So to me, it's innovation and sharing and all of the things that actually make this is a great place to live. It takes a few times around the track, right, to get traction. And with some of the new people who have joined and some of the continuity players, I think this really has the potential to become kind of a force.
You know, we were talking about energy production. You know, the highest efficiency rating of a photovoltaic cell in converting the sun into electricity is 29%. A photosynthetic plant has an efficiency of 99%. Now, there is a discipline called synthetic biology.
The pumped hydro is really the kids' idea of how to demonstrate what should be a much larger scale system. But we have a solar panel and a windmill that will, during the day or when it's windy, provide electricity that will pump water from the ground floor to the roof. And then when you have a demand for electricity and there's no wind or sun, the system will just run the water down to the ground floor, and you'll use the normal hydroelectric process. It's a battery, it's a dam being a battery, you know, and it could be scalable.
If you could find a team of people that might work on a project, and this team could work on an innovation inside government or in a company, but that team is at least something that could work together for 6 months. Maybe there's potential for mentoring. Maybe there's some potential for opportunity for them to understand how the the organization works. But if it's fostered by like the city, or fostered by there's a partnership, public-private, some sort of partnership, and this team can go in and help do something like a Code for America fellowship thing, then there's not only something that you can identify that's the result of that work, but now you build some capacity for people to go on and do something else.
Well, you look at things like Coursera and edX and some of these places where Harvard, MIT, Stanford are putting their college classes online for free. You don't have to go to college to take a college-level class, and you can take the things that are of most interest to you. You don't walk out of that with a degree, because no one's really offering that except for one or two very, very rare instances. But you can still get all the education.
This idea that you have a credential that validates that you are educated the way that you say you are, in addition to getting the content, in addition to getting the sort of peer and social experience, is something that they're trying to address, right? And so that's something that Coursera does, and everyone's kind of working towards that. I think if you were to take people out of high school before they went to college, there is an obligation to make sure that they have a broad education, right? Like, I think that's still an important thing to be thinking about. How can we continue to have them have ongoing training so that when this opportunity dries up, as all opportunities do, that they have some broad base to learn from.
If you go into an environment, and you know how Hawaii is so based in tradition, right? I mean, if they've got a tradition of, you got to have a BS or you got to have an MS or something, and then all of a sudden, there's a little tide, a sea change of people coming in with the enthusiasm, but maybe without a college degree. I mean, are we setting them up for something worse later on when if that tide doesn't change within the corporate culture?
It can be very lonely in the building to be there trying to trumpet these causes and these different modes of thinking. So wherever you happen to be, if you ever encounter a city council individual or someone from the administration, just let them know, hey, these are the things that we want. These are the things that we need.
After the breakout sessions, there was an Ignite event in one of the classrooms on the Science Center where 5 speakers gave us their thoughts about topics near and dear to their hearts. They were all very enthusiastic, and we took video of each of them.
I know you have something really interesting to say, and we're all very passionate about hearing what you have to say, but make it fast.
Before I came back to Hawaii, I was working for a seed fund. So I was portfolio manager for about 35 companies. I saw probably hundreds of companies in my tenure at TEDCO. So I'm talking about the types of entrepreneurs there are. I kind of came up with some categories. So entrepreneur is not easy. It takes a lot of work, a lot of heavy lifting. You take a lot of risk.
I work for a company called Civic. Civic does crowdsourced vulnerability discovery. Basically, we pay people to find bugs in our customers' web apps, mobile apps, and IoT devices. They paid for me to fly over here from Maui, so check out Civic.com. My company will definitely appreciate that. So this is kind of an obvious statement. Macs are pretty much everywhere. And as we know, anytime a technology becomes more prevalent, attackers are going to look for more opportunities.
Interactive installations kind
kind of changed my perspective on things of art and tech. Julius did some awesome installation where he like got a simple camera and he hacked everybody's photos just with a flash of a intense flash.
All right, my name is Ben Trevino. I'm the president and CEO of Bike Share Hawaii, which is a nonprofit organization whose sole purpose is to launch bike sharing in the state of Hawaii. And I've had this idea I've been tossing around that I get a lot of blank stares when I explain it to other people. So I'm going to try it on you guys and see if anybody understands what I'm talking about.
Aloha kako, I'm Derek Isabel, and I'd like to share with you how the Pacific American Foundation is synergizing science, community service, and education in a model that we call collective impact.
So my name is Ria Baldevia. I'm a graduate student at Hawaii Pacific University. I'm going to talk about getting to know your neighborhood using nextdoor.com. Disclaimer, I'm an ambassador for nextdoor.com, and so the overall objective here is to get you to join Nextdoor and invite 9 of your friends in your neighborhood to jump on board.
Hello everybody, my name is Max Kramer and thanks for your time. I'm the Deputy Operations Director for the Hawaii Undersea Research Lab, and I'd like to ignite you today about the very real possibility of losing the only deep diving assets based in Hawaii. Federal funding for basic research was decoupled from economic growth in the early 1990s, leading to an ever-increasing gap between allocated and needed funds. Federal support for HURL was cut to 0 in March of 2012.
This has exceeded my expectation, I'll tell you. It really has. And all the sessions that I attended, I thought were just really great. That's the whole purpose of the Unconferenz, is really to look at how can we take some of the ideas that were perhaps born here and take it to something that will take action, do something, create a movement. Between now and next year, make something happen.
Unconferences are one of a number of events evolving around the state to promote the tech industry. Everyone, including a number of government people who were there, agreed that we have to go beyond talk and take action.
This was the 7th annual Unconferenz, and each has been more productive than the last. We want Unconferenz to be a kind of tech think tank with certain intimacy in the discussion. This Unconferenz had that quality and was as good or better than those in the past.
The group looked forward to staying in touch and putting the ideas discussed into action. In any event, Burt Lum assured us there will be another Unconferenz next year, when we can all compare notes about progress in the interim.
These tech events touch each other. There's a core group that is involved in many or most of them, and a process of assimilation that brings them together into a cohesive community. ThinkTech will be watching that process going forward. After all, it is our middle name.
And now let's take a look at our ThinkTech calendar of events going forward.
ThinkTech broadcasts its talk shows live on the internet from noon to 5 p.m. on weekday afternoons, and then we broadcast our earlier shows all night long. If you missed a show or want to replay or share any show, they're all archived on demand on YouTube.
Visit thinktechhawaii.com for our weekly calendar and our live stream and YouTube links, or better yet, sign on to our email list and get the daily docket of our upcoming shows.
If you hadn't heard, ThinkTech has moved into larger quarters in Pioneer Plaza, and our new studio there is really beautiful. More than ever, we invite you to come down, see our studio, and be a part of our live audience. Just contact Jay at thinktechhawaii.com. Be part of our civic engagement here on ThinkTech.
Do you like ThinkTech? Give us a thumbs up on YouTube or send us a tweet at ThinkTechHI. We want to know what you're thinking and how you feel about current issues and events affecting Hawaii. We want you to stay in touch with us, and we want to stay in touch with you. Let's think together.
On June 18th, ThinkTech will present its Downtown Forum Luncheon Panel program on the subject of the military in Hawaii, what has happened to them since the days of Dan.
We'll ask what units are here and what they're doing. We'll ask what they contribute to our community and the economy and what would happen without them. And we'll ask how likely is it that they will stay.
Join us and raise your awareness about the critical sea changes taking place in Hawaii. Be a part of the conversation and sign up to attend on thinktechhawaii.com. And now, here's this week's ThinkTech commentary.
Hello there, young, middle, or elderly citizen of Hawaii. Welcome to June. I hope you're having a good morning, day, or evening today. For how can I know what time of day it is where you are, for you're probably watching me on the internet. I'm just gonna guess. Anyways, I'm Sachi Slomoff for Radar News on ThinkTech Hawaii, and today I proudly present to you our Radar News covering the discoveries and events our 3 critical news stories are shedding light on for the month of May. 2 Dutch scientists from Delft University of Technology have created a bladeless wind turbine that may completely revolutionize wind power. Their monolithic mechanism is called the EWACON, standing for the Electrostatic Wind Energy Converter, an invention that may be appropriate for urban settings because it has no larger rotating parts, produces less noise, and creates minimal shade. The classic model of wind power that you are perhaps more privy to uses rotating turbines to harness the kinetic energy of the wind, which then an electric generator turns into electric energy. The EWACON instead harnesses electric energy, by passively letting the wind move charged water particles against the direction of an electric field. As clean energy is one of the fastest growing fields in applied technology today, the EWACON may be just one revolution out of many that you can expect as we draw closer and closer to a more resilient environment. The Cameron Crowe film about to hit theaters, Aloha, is outraging many Native Hawaiians and locals over what they believe to be a disrespectful misappropriation of culture and the simplification of a word and force rich with meaning. The outrage reflects the importance to dig a little deeper during research when filming in a community already well familiar with the oversimplification of their culture. The lashback also reflects the protection and respect Hawaii has for its community and history. Aloha was untitled during film production in 2013, but Hawaii State Film Commissioner Dawn Dawson said if she had known of their choice for the title, she would have advised against it. Dawson said of Hawaii's role in the movies dating back to 1913, with movies like Blue Hawaii and From Here to Eternity, we've had a century of misrepresentation, of misunderstanding, of miscommunication of who we are. We have fallen prey to the stereotypical ideas that people have about Hawaii. It's not based in truth, and it's not authentic. A volcano erupted in southern Japan on the 29th, spewing ash high into the sky and forcing the small island residents to evacuate. The eruption of Mount Shindake on Kuchinoerabu Island supposedly had no warning of the eruption. The event produced a large plume 9 kilometers high and sent pyroclastic flows to the ocean. Though no deaths were reported, the few injured were airlifted to nearby Yakushima Island, about 7 miles to the east. Kuchino-Erabu Island, which is fairly isolated, can usually only be reached by a once-a-day ferry from Yakushima, but Coast Guards quickly sent boats on support. This event reflects us back to the magnitude 9 earthquake that rocked northeastern Japan in the spring of 2011, an earthquake that triggered a tsunami that killed more than 18,000 people, ravaging much of the northern Pacific coast. Japan sits along the Pacific Ring of Fire and is frequently jolted by earthquakes. Sensitivity and concern for our Earth and its communities is necessary moving forward. I'm Sachi Slomoff for Radar News on ThinkTech. If you think there is an important something we need to bring a brighter light to in our news media, send it to us at thinktechhawaii.com and we will do our best to have it featured. Here at Radar News and at ThinkTech, we have just as much a responsibility to you as you do to your local world. Sayonara and shalom, and we'll see you next time in June. We'll be right back to wrap up this week's edition of ThinkTech. But first, we want to thank our underwriters who are so very important to us. Okay, Sachi, that wraps up this week's edition of ThinkTech here on our brand new studio in Pioneer Plaza. Remember, you can watch ThinkTech on OC16 like 7 times every week. Can't get enough of it, just like Jay Fidel does, while he's not building our new studio, that is. For additional times, check out oc16.tv. Definitely, Donna. For lots more ThinkTech videos and for underwriting and sponsorship opportunities on ThinkTech on OC16, visit thinktechhawaii.com. Be a guest or volunteer, a producer or intern, yes, even an OC16 host like Donna and me, and help us reach and have an impact on Hawaii. Thanks so much for being a part of our ThinkTech family and for supporting our open discussion on tech, energy, diversification, and globalism in Hawaii. You can watch this show throughout the week and tune in next Sunday evening for our next important weekly episode. I'm Donna Blanchard, and I will see you Wednesday on ThinkTech's Center Stage. I'm Sachi Slomoff, and I approve this message. Aloha, everyone.